Hello and welcome to Designer Market Update. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. So I'm working on updating some of the graphics that we use on our broadcast, so bear with me while there are no graphics. There are, however, some interesting pieces of data that I'd like to delve into that pertain specifically to power prices. Now, we're going to be getting into Bitcoin price action in just a moment, but bear with me here. Earlier today and yesterday and the day before, I've kind of been watching PJM grid action. And this is something I would do a bit more publicly, during our time focusing a bit more on Stronghold Digital Mining. But, the reality is Bitfarms is acquiring these assets, which when grid prices are at the multiple hundreds of dollars, right? Say in the PP&L zone of the PJM grid, which if you're not familiar with that, it's basically the zone of the PJM grid where Bitfarms' now Panther Creek facility resides, and PJM Penelec, which is in western Pennsylvania, that's the portion of the PJM grid where now Bitfarms' Scrubgrass facility resides. And yes, it's true, the acquisition of Stronghold Digital Mining has yet to close, but let's just sort of assume it will happen, right? So these are now Bitfarms, facilities. And so whenever you see grid prices as high as they've been, what it really kind of points to is an interesting situation where when Bitfarms is basically confronted with the, not dilemma, but the question of, do we use the electricity ourselves to mine Bitcoin or to power HPC AI applications, right? Or do we sell that electricity to the grid? I'm hard-pressed to believe that there are use cases that can prove more favorable than, selling to the grid when grid prices are like in the hundreds of dollars per megawatt hour. Truly, truly lucrative. Something else that relates to this is it's my understanding, my preliminary understanding, that President Trump signed, I believe, an executive order allowing natural gas in the United States to be exported to Europe and to, I guess, other places. I have to independently confirm this, just kind of piecing together some news headlines that I saw. If that were to be the case, it's likely to result in higher natural gas prices. Now, the reason why that's relevant to Bitfarms and Stronghold Digital Mining is because higher nat gas pricing generally means higher grid prices, okay? And so higher grid prices, I think to some degree, can be very favorable, right, for a power producer, such as is the case with Scrubgrass, right, which is a mine waste energy facility in western Pennsylvania, and Panther Creek, which is a mine waste energy facility in eastern Pennsylvania, now soon to be owned by Bitfarms. It's like having the power to control your production of electricity is going to be even more crucial if markets, meaning power markets, continue to tighten as a result of some of these changes that are being made as a result of a new incoming administration. Okay, that's quite a bit as it relates to all things having to do with power prices, right, and grid prices and grid dynamics and the potential for higher grid prices. Let's now really focus in on Bitcoin price action. I'm seeing Bitcoin down a bit today at about $103,882 as of the time this broadcast is being created. The network hash rate has remained steady under 800 exahash, right? It's around 775 right now, and hash prices are still above 60 at about 61 or so. So, I'm not terribly surprised that we're seeing a little bit of fluctuation in the price of Bitcoin. The real key here, from my perspective, is can we stay above 100,000? Maybe build up a new base above 100,000 and then potentially push forward from there. That's a kind of a big deal, right? If we go all the way back to 90,000, you know what I mean? You start to wonder then what's going on with this rally, right? When is it going to really take effect? So, the leaderboard, right? Our metal podium, so to speak, today. So Iris Energy up over 7%, almost 8% today, closing at $11.66 a share. Core Scientific, a very, very respectable, nearly 4.5% rise today, closing at $15.97. And in third place, TeraWulf, closing at $6.23 per share, up about 4.5% as well. Now, our Bitfarms was down very, very slightly today. It's kind of frustrating. I get it. Down about a penny, give or take a little bit, to about $1.66. So, yeah, I hear you. I'm going to be talking a bit more about some of the frustration that I directly see and hear about within the Bitfarms, investor base. It's a mixed bag. There are some individuals out there who are extremely bullish on Bitfarms from these levels, right? They're like, hey, this company has nowhere to go but up. Understandably, there are some individuals who very, very passionately feel as if though this company is just like a walking nightmare. And I understand that perspective as well, because when you've been in a name like this for any, extended period of time and watched your money essentially just kind of go sideways, right? You're not really seeing a meaningful return. You start to wonder, hey, what's my opportunity cost here? Like, what's going on? So I want to delve into that in a bit more detail all by itself on a dedicated broadcast. But for today, hey, you know what? Bitfarms, again, more or less held its own, down fractionally. At least it's not really going down, any more substantially than it already has. So I think if that's any consolation, that's probably it. And in the rock bottom position today is SLNH. Down over 7%. We really got to see Bitcoin either create a new base here above 100,000 and start moving forward, or we need to see hash prices really take off. I don't think hash prices are going to take off absent the price of Bitcoin taking off. I don't really see the network hash rate going down too dramatically. I mean, right at this point, I think any capacity that's online is likely to stay online. You might have some fringe capacity that comes on and off, but for the most part, we really just need to see the price of Bitcoin start to accelerate. Okay, my friend, with all of that said, let us end today. Let's go back to our little habit of sharing a positive sounding quotation, which I think can be thought-provoking and perhaps even a bit inspiring. Now, I may have shared this one before, maybe not. I need to start keeping better track. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. Theodore Roosevelt. I believe I may have shared that before, but you know what? It's still true today, right? If you believe you can do something, you're already halfway there. And you know what? I'm already starting to see evidence of that type of thinking take effect here in the United States, right? Sometimes you get a new administration with a fresh perspective, with the glass is half full type of mentality, right? And you can really start to see some interesting things happening. And again, I'm focusing on this primarily from the lens of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and a regulatory environment that ideally, right, absent of Bitcoin strategic reserve, a regulatory environment that just creates opportunity for all kinds of new innovative things to happen. So I'm really excited about that. Let's stay positive. Let's be great. And we'll see each other again tomorrow.